I'm the City Prepper. Today is December 2024. Hopefully, everyone was able to have a nice Thanksgiving, was able to be with loved ones, family, friends, was able to forget about what's going on in the world right now, just simply over the dinner. I know that's hard to do when the cost of food has gone skyrocketing through the roof. The cost of everyday living is absolutely skyrocketed. But at the end of the day, we should all be thankful for the air in our lungs, the food in our stomach, the roof over our head, and the people we broke bread with. Now, you might not love all of your loved ones, but at the end of the day, they are still your loved ones, and we are blessed to have them. So hopefully, I've got to enjoy the holiday. Now, on to more pressing matters. Early this morning, I received a lot of intel from a Navy source regarding the declaration of martial law in South Korea. Now, what they're coming out and saying it is to stop Northern Korea's aggression in the region, and the answer to that is absolutely flawed, and it is very concerning. South Korea, like us, has a democracy. A lot of their governing bodies is very similar to ours. And the only difference is the way the people conduct themselves day to day, meaning they are more reserved as a people, they are less combative, and they typically are more understanding with the government and the rules set forth by the government. This is not the case right now. There's a lot of pushback, as you can see in the photo from today's video. This was taken from last night or early this morning, where there's people upset. People think that this is being done for their own good. It is not. There is definitely some underhanded reason for why this is all happening. Stopping an aggression from a different is not a reason to implement martial law on our own citizens. I mean, simply put, that can happen here. We've had aggression and a massive issue coming from the southern border. Is it outside the scope of possibility that martial law could be declared to deal with this situation? No, it is not outside the scope of possibility. And there are things that are going on right now, one being Hunter Biden being his awful father, is just setting precedent for some very dangerous things up ahead. And you're seeing a lot of things being put in motion for whoever's pulling the strings right now, that the Trump administration is going to have a lot of hurdles to get over for the next 4 years. For one, there are countless people in custody right now for the events of January 6th. I'm not talking about what happened on that day. I'm not getting involved. A lot of people wrote a lot of hate comments and emailed me in regards, I'm not passing judgment of what happened, but again, to why I tell each and every one of you to stay out of that. Yourself in a compromising position, you have now put yourself out there to be incarcerated, to be killed, to be hurt, and to not be there for your family when the situation arises. But that's besides the point. Seeing right now in South Korea is setting very dangerous precedent. I believe the last time they declared martial law or a situation like that was the 1980s, if I'm not mistaken. But the reasoning behind it is worse and what is scary. Everyone keeps talking about the DoD directive that passed in September here in the U.S. was going to be utilized by the Biden administration against Trump supporters. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. We are seeing a lot of rhetoric and a lot of talk from the new Trump administration that they're going using the National Guard and declaring a national emergency to forcibly remove our illegal neighbors. Again, not getting behind the politics of that. Gonna have a lot of pushback. That is a prime scenario to where a martial law can be declared. You've seen it recently in the Ukraine, you're seeing it right now in South Korea, and it is not outside or off the table that the Biden administration will declare it in the next 40-something days that they have, or the Trump administration will declare it in order to evict our neighbors. What you can do to prepare. First of all, let's talk about what happens during martial law. It's not simply, all right, you have a curfew, everyone in their house. It's not cut and dry like that. What happens during martial law, the government steps in. The regular liberties and rights that you were accustomed to are suspended. That means the government can literally throw you or detain you in jail for as long as they need, as long as the national emergency is in effect, and they're going to stush dissident like that, just simply crush it. They're going to control media. They're going to control food sources. They're going to control rations. They're going to control your ability to move. They're going to control your ability to speak. They're going to control the news waves. They're going to control the internet. Everything is under control. And that is a very scary and dangerous situation, especially those who are boisterous in their opinion. You're going to see YouTube channels like this censored. You're going to see us not being able to speak. And if there's another platform for us to speak on, that's going to be crushed, if not put people that are very into anti whatever behind bars. A lot of people got arrested last night in South Korea, and that is concerning. That is definitely concerning. I am not sitting here to tell you this is going to happen here. I'm not sitting here telling you to be scared and go buy whatever food I'm recommending, to go to Dark Knight Medics, to go buy the latest. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to be very cognizant of what's going on right now. The Biden administration just pardoned Hunter Biden. You have Biden in Africa right now just pledged $1 billion aid that we do not have to give our own citizens. You're having the willingness of a forced situation to happen globally where it's an absolute dumpster fire for when Trump takes office. I'm telling you, it's a very unique and scary situation, especially in the months and weeks ahead to come. There's going to be massive, massive things done in the first 100th day of Trump's administration, and good or bad, it is going to stoke a lot of emotion. The left has been way too quiet for way too long since he absolutely destroyed Harris in the election. They're like, it wasn't even a close one. They absolutely pulled down his pants, wiped his ass all over. Like, it was embarrassing the way that they lost, the way that they were spending money and collecting money. It's embarrassing for any Democrat to hold their head out in the public right now because of the way it was absolutely brought upon. And you had a lot of pollsters pulling some bullshit, especially the one from Iowa saying that he was going to lose by 17 points. He blew her out in Iowa. The only states that Trump did not win are the ones without voter ID, which makes you think about that one. The IRS was today asking about an additional $20 billion. Elon Musk's Department of Efficiency is going to wipe all that out. But there is going to be a lot of pushback. There is going to be a lot of struggle, a lot of fighting. This is not over. And I keep telling you that. Donald Trump winning is buying people time, but this is not over. There is going to be a lot of fighting. There's a talks about New York, Michigan, there's a couple other states leaving the union, being part of Canada. Or like this. You're going to hear a lot of rhetoric like that. There's going to be people that are going to be doing things in the next few weeks, few months, for few years that are not going to sit well with other people. This is prime for a declaration of martial law or a civil war for happening. I think we are closer to civil war than we have since the first Civil War. And my grandfather, God always said, the next Civil War will not happen in his lifetime. It will happen in mine. This was about 20 years ago. And there are a lot of things up to where the rule of law is almost out the window. Police are not allowed to do what they need to do. I believe it was in the New York Post or the Daily News yesterday in New York that a police officer on body camera had an armed individual, armed with a knife, try to close the gap on him by chasing him down with a knife, presenting a deadly physical threat. The police officer opened fire, fired, hit the individual. The individual died. And this Civilian Complaint Review Board, I believe it is deeming him to be terminated. because he didn't take necessary. That there is no. I watched the whole video. What precautions? An individual who's 21 feet armed with a knife can close that gap within seconds. There was not any time to conceal and to cover himself. That was it. There was a language barrier. He was telling him to show him his hands in Spanish. Again, this video is out there. It's public information. I believe it was on the New York Post, and he had to open fire to protect his own life, and the Civilian Complaint Review Board is deeming him to be terminated. This is making police officers, whoever takes this job, to really think about what they're doing. The same thing for firefighters. Whoever takes this job, they are they're open to litigation. They're open to things happening. Same thing for the EMTs. Whoever takes this job is putting themselves in a position that is going to get them hurt, to get them killed. It's happened a few times. There was a woman in the Bronx who was an EMT or a paramedic who was rendering aid to an individual. Another individual jumped into the ambulance and ran her over with her own ambulance. She was killed. There was another one where I believe she was stabbed in the Bronx. Like this happens more frequently than it should. And this is happening in heavily democratic areas where there's gun control laws that are beyond the scope of what it should be. It's a Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. A lot of people are not taking advantage of that. And like I spoke to, and again, that's not an advocacy to go out and buy a gun to go use it on someone. You should be out there to have a gun to protect yourself and to protect your loved ones, protect your home. Like these are the things that people are running into where I can only speak from seeing it in New York that EMS and fire departments' response times are higher than it should be. Same thing for the police. My neighbor called the police about his car getting broken into. While the guy was breaking into the car, it took the cops over an hour to come. The guy was long gone, stole whatever he stole. Yeah, it's an insurance claim, but people are afraid to go out and protect their property because of him coming back and breaking into the house or hurting that person's wife. Like, this is what the reality of what the way of life is in some areas in America. Like, this shouldn't be like this. You're seeing it in Manhattan, where you have the TDA Venezuelan gang that are completely running rampant. And first of all, they're getting public assistance from New York State and the U.S. government because they're poor them, they're here, they're claiming asylum. Nobody did a background check. Most of them are from gangs already, and now they're here creating absolute havoc, and it is destroying tourism in New York City because of that, because of response time, because of ambulance response time. You have mental health completely unchecked right in Manhattan. You have vagrants everywhere. A lot of them are suffering from mental instability. And it is called where there was an individual on 3 separate occasions in Manhattan stabbed people. I believe none of them died, but this is the reality of what's going on, where you just let the left run rampant for 4 years. New York, it's been for a very long time, and it is causing such chaos in our country that unless you give the police the power to do policing, unless you give the justice system the ability to render justice, you're going to cause a situation where it's going to get dire, and you're going to leave no choice but to do what's going on in South Korea. And I want you to take that with a grain of salt. Each and every one of you should be doing things every day to help your life. You should be paying down as fast as you can, because you don't know what the next 4 years is going to bring. I can speak on Hurricane Sandy because I was in New York for that. ATMs did not work. You didn't have electricity. If an area had electricity and had gas, there was long lines. There was it was a cold snap. Like, people weren't able to homes. They were layering up if they even had a home to go to, because it wiped out places. Moral of my story: you need to be prepared. You absolutely need to be prepared. There's not much time. And I've been saying this now for a long time. And there's things that are happening that averted crisis, but I don't see that happening. I don't see a crisis being averted for the next 4 years. Realistically, I think it's not long. It's not long before the Trump administration gets in and they start kicking out our illegal tenants. And that is going to have your AOCs, your Pelosi's, your Maxine Waters asking for violence. If you see a Republican or a Trump supporter, you boo them, you kick them out. That's invoking violence. That is going to cause pushback. You're going to have your pussy pink hat people running around crying and shaving their heads. There's women sterilizing themselves right now to be anti-Trump. I don't know how that is anti-Trump. I don't get that. I guess shaving your head and not shaving your legs is really showing a message, but sterilizing yourself is doing what? This is the logic between the people we're dealing with right now. Like this is the logic that you have. Was it drag queen storybook time at libraries? Why are we funding this? Why are we funding people who want to dress up and or play make believe or whatever? That's your business. But why are we pushing this on children? Children are supposed to be innocent. This is almost sick and sadistic of the things that are going on in this country. And all I can tell you is to be prepared. And I will get on this video every day until they either take me off the air or there's no air in my lungs. You need to be prepared for everything in life. Buddy was going to a shift at the hospital. He is a PA. He was in a good part of Staten Island, and he was walking to his car at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he got blindsided by a crackhead. Guy punched him over the head, took his wallet. Like, this is what's going on, and there's gonna be no end in sight unless people either A, speak out about it, B, vote these politicians out, or people bury their head in the sand until change happens. That's not gonna happen like that. You need to be accountable for your own actions, and you need to be compliant. And this is what this channel is all about, which brings me on to my next segment. Today's featured product is going to be the First Responder Kit. These are exclusively on Dark Knight Medic's website. So we do have a website now. The big reveal is going to be Friday afternoon, if not Sunday. darkknightmedics.com. You can also purchase these kits on Etsy. Inside of this kit, you're going to have medical shears, a tourniquet, Israeli compression bandage, a hemostatic clotting agent, rolled gauze. These are invaluable for a catastrophic situation. I've used this kit. This is the kit that was in my car the day I had to use a tourniquet on someone. And I don't tell you this for accolades. I don't tell you this to, oh, attaboy, city prepper. No, I'm just telling you that if you are not going to have the ability to self-rescue or rescue a family one or a loved one or a perfect stranger, don't expect that to happen to you. That's it. I cannot stress that enough. For those of you that play Call of Duty, if there's anybody in that generation, if you're not going to revive someone, someone's not going to come and revive you. It's the simple way things work. The way ambulances and fire departments have response times right now, or God forbid you're in traffic, their response time is going to be even longer than it needs to be. And if you are in a catastrophic need of a tourniquet or a way to do CPR or a way to stop the bleed, you're not going to have that. So if you're not buying a kit similar to this, if not those kits, just remember that if you're not having the ability to rescue yourself, someone might not have the ability to rescue you. And the way this world is going and the response time are just going to continue to get longer and longer and longer. Same thing goes for self-defense. If you do not have the ability or that mindset that you are going to have to defend yourself, your battle is lost. There is no more putting the cover overhead and hoping for the boogeyman to go away. That's not how the world works. I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand between being in New York and watching things happen. I mean, I'm not the biggest man in the room, but I'm 6 foot, 200 pounds. I don't necessarily have the same worries as somebody who's 5'5" and female. And again, I'm not trying to stereotype or It's just people view people differently. That's simply how it is. And I've seen a lot of nasty things that have could have gone wrong. I've actually helped in certain situations to stop things, but neither here nor there. You need to start having that mindset of one, taking care of your mental health, two, taking care of your physical health, three, being able to be self-reliant, have multiple sources of income. That is the name of the game on this. At any given day, you might not be able to work. And if that day comes, you need to rely on another source of income. This, this point in this world, it is getting very, very scary. Thanksgiving for my house, and I'm sure for a lot of you that are watching right now, was very difficult this season. Not because of the people who were there, just because of the astronomical amount of money it cost to provide dinner for a family of 10. It was through the roof. Like, it was almost embarrassing, the amount of money. This is like third world nation, the amount of inflation that's going on, and it's going to continue to get worse. I don't know if the Trump administration is going to be able to curb the inflation rate. I know the head of the Fed was saying that they're private and Trump has no bearing over it. That's yet to see what's going to happen with that, but we are definitely in a perfect storm with the multiple brush fires that are going on, figuratively, throughout the world. And I am definitely watching it, and I'm relaying the information as it comes over in real time. The bird flu is definitely something to watch out for. The Marburg virus is something to watch out for. A friend of the channel had sent some information over. They're using a lot of stock photos, and the part where the outbreak going on right now is where Biden is visiting. And if it was such a bad thing, a bad outbreak, why would he be there? But various things are going on, and you need to A, be aware of it, and two, you need to not get sick over it. I mean, there was points in my life where I was getting so consumed with the news, and I wasn't living my life. And you need to also realize that. Andrew, we were talking about the different things going on in the world, along with what's going on with the South Korea situation. You could rewind it, but right now we're talking about the potential of what is going to happen in the next month to 6 months. You're seeing the uptick in the bird flu. I know it's jumping species. I believe now it's the cat and dogs and pigs and cattle have it. And they're inoculating due to the stop spread, but I don't even know how that's possible. It can jump species that quick, especially when there's no interconnection to it. The Marburg virus is concerning because it's a blood losing disease. Like, you're gonna be losing blood through the orifices, the eyes, and you're bleeding out. Yes, the martial law is due to politics. They're blaming it on North Korean aggression. There's different factions inside of South Korea, and there are causing issues, but to lock down the whole country is, I don't understand. I was reading an article that pretty much putting it that they wouldn't be surprised if the alphabet agency had something to do with this, because they want us havoc for the Trump administration. Here we are, we're 40-something days left until he takes over, and there's a lot of world issues that are going to be major issues if not kept abreast about. I mean, I still think that China will go into Taiwan in the next 50 days, and I think this is really going to test the rhetoric from the Trump administration. And I know Ukraine was looking to secede some of its land in order to end things, but then where does that put the little t-shirt president when it comes to power? He put his country in martial law so he could stay in power. Does that mean martial law is over and they'll have a free election? I don't know, yet to be seen. But having your money in the stock market right now, again, this is not financial advice, however, please consult a tax professional, but there is too much instability in numerous regions that would even be a good idea to do that. I know cryptocurrency was something that Trump wanted to work on and to make as centralized in the US and not charge capital gains on it. I'm not telling you to not have money in that, but maybe not put your in college funds for your kids. But we definitely need to prepare for the worst. Again, Andrew, I was just talking about the necessity to be self-reliant. I don't know where in the Philippines you are, if you're on a military installation or what. I'm not asking you to answer that, but I'm telling you here in the US, especially some of these blue cities, police, fire, and EMS response times are through the roof. Now, add traffic or a protest where it's going to hinder response times. If you do not have the ability to defend yourself or to self-rescue, you are putting yourself and your lives at a very, very nasty situation. There's that platinum 10 minutes, and I'm speaking from EMS situations. There's a platinum 10 minutes where you want to get that person all patched up and stabilized and ready to move to get them to the hospital. And if you're waiting for an ambulance or for a bystander to help you, you are wasting definitely some valuable time. So you need to be prepared to do that on your own, whether it is a kit from Dark Knight Medics, which I featured today, was the first responder kit. You can get that currently on Etsy.com. Just look for the link below, and the Dark Knight Medic website will be up. Whether it's a kit like this, the travel ouch pouch, the tactical first aid kit light or pro, you should have something that's going to help you self-rescue. There's going to come a point where, especially in your Democrat cities where hospitals are overrun, and you're seeing it now. I was visiting a friend in the hospital 2 months ago. He got hurt. He was near where I was. I went to go stop in. He was in the waiting room, like as soon as you walk in to check in, like with a wristband waiting for treatment. That's how overrun the hospital bays were. They weren't even able to treat him with dignity, and he was sitting where people were. It's getting out of hand, and it's going to continue to get worse as long as these liberals are taking advantage of these weak systems and these weak-minded individuals called neighbors and cohabiting. So definitely start being able to take care of yourself. So guys, pay attention to that situation in South Korea. I will keep you advised as much as I can as things are coming over, but this is not over. It is going to, is straight from my Navy intel source. This is going to escalate the situation. So keep an eye on it and just pray that the next 40-something, 50-something days goes by quick so that we're able to have a president that is promising some real change. So, all right, guys, that's all I have for today. Check out the Etsy website. The Dark Knight Medics website will be up Friday, if not Saturday morning. That's going to be darkknightmedics.com. That's www.darkknightmedics.com. Have a great day and stay tuned for further.